Things you didn't know about the male gender. Many species like grizzly bears, polar bears, elephants, lions, chimps. The males are forced out of their group, out of their family, set off on their own much younger than females, if at all. If the females are set off at all, bears included. So the males are on survival mode more. Probably have to act more aggressive, develop more aggressive instinct, nurture them. More aggressive hormones, not testosterone alone. They're directed by itself, not itself aggressive. Making more aggressive impulses, wiring in habits. Plus, the females have more connection to their own group. As males do not. Example of nurture over nature. It's the difference between wild animals and those raised under human care, under captive animals.
Wynwood, Oklahoma is a wildlife refuge that's home to a variety of creatures. Due to the recent strains on the economy, many places that shelter animals have been forced to shut down, leaving them in need of a new place to go. Also at the park lives a more familiar but extremely determined little dachshund named Abby. While some of the bigger beasts around here might think of Abby as a sausage on a bun, there's a certain animal who likes Abby for what's on the inside. Bone Digger, the Barbary lion.
Well, I can't say that I've ever seen anything like this bond. They're always just loving on each other.
Bone Digger gets along with all four of the wiener dogs, but for some reason Abby gets away with a lot more.
Him and Abby's had a special bond from the first day.
Not long after Bone Digger was born, Abby came along.
They were probably all introduced within being the age of 6 to 9 weeks old.
And it was love at first sight.
And by that time, Bone Digger's got a little bit of size to him, and Bone Digger just mothered it. The most amazing thing is definitely the bond that they've built.
Known for their little legs and big nerves, Dachshund's lack of self-awareness in terms of their size can sometimes get them into sticky situations.
Me and the weenie dogs are about the only relationship that he has. Nobody else can go in the cage with him. He runs him out, gets aggressive with him. He's never tried that with me. I've never been in fear while I'm in there, and the weenie dogs have never been in fear while in there. Believe it or not, the weenie dogs actually overpower him.
I think they've got their size differences worked out.
1 minute they'll be running around the house chasing him, and then the next minute he's chasing them. So they reverse roles.
Contrary to what you might expect between a lion and a dog, Abby and Bone Digger are creating their own unique dynamic.
We've actually split them up. When I go in to weed eat the cage, the weenie dogs attack the head of the weed eater. So I have to kick the weenie dogs out of the cage, and Bone Digger just paces and cries up and down the fence. And then as soon as I'm done weed eating, I let the weenie dogs back in, and he counts his weenie dogs, make sure they're all there, and just loves all over them. He loves on them. They usually lick his mouth and lay on him and roll over. It's a pretty cool reunion.
And here's the other end of the spectrum.
Something else Daddy Longlegs apart from many arthropods are that the parents, males included in some species, take care of the eggs. It's rare that arthropod males have any involvement in egg rearing, so it's neat that the ones that perform the role as a daddy take on that moniker.
Not only that, but sometimes only the male take care of the young, and sometimes not the other female that are not the mother try and eat some of the young, and the male has to fend them off. Complete reverse. Oh, by the way, what you know, think about like the difference between sperm and eggs and energy requirements. You can see ways males can make up the difference. Like say in the cicadas, the males produce a nutrient, a ball for his mate to make up the difference. Some butterflies try to attract males to get female scarcity, like the Hypolymus boylina butterfly, and the Uthner butterfly, and flip the gender roles and who attracts who. The Bicyclus and Ninatus, a butterfly found to mate event. These females, when they're exposed to code as females, as caterpillars, they're trying to attract males for extra supplement. And no, they don't eat him. The supplement comes from his sperm and other ejaculations itself. Semen has pretty nutrients. Human semen has some nutrients for sperm or perhaps the mate to use. It shouldn't be treated like biological trash, like a boogers or even waste. Many examples of parthenogenesis say in wasps, the cell member. Look at this article. They still take my theory. They still take RNAs and promoters and inhibitors and signals within the cell membrane. This is the article. So they could just lay completely unfertilized eggs like ants and bees, but their insect larval stage is much closer to their embryonic stage, and their bodies in the pupa, their bodies actually melt and is rebuilt through imaginal disc. With parental or sibling care, it is possible that ants and bees manually stimulate the imaginal disc of the males. The imaginal disc is the adult gene expression. But the wasps that don't have parental care, they still need sperm. Sperm's role might not just be extra genes, might actually be special gene expression, as I described earlier. That might actually be the guiding force of evolution. Other examples of parthenogenesis, they actually aren't unfertilized eggs. The females have enough male genes or maybe signals to connect to the rest of the body to produce their own sperm from polar bodies. Geckos live for about 5 years and have a half-month gestation period. Meanwhile, the poultry lizards, for not needing males, with a similar, maybe even simpler morphology, live for 3 years and have a 2-month gestation period. Also, with termites, some pathogenic termites taking longer to develop. Even clones, like clone dogs, are less developed and take about 2 extra days or maybe weeks in what should be a 2-month pregnancy. Gender role reverse in insects. The red velvet wasp females can fly, but males can't and look for females. True with these flightless moths, which are all female, which leave pheromones to attract males that can fly. Now let me get back to talking about humans. On average, men have a higher average body temperature. Whatever reason evolved, or even maybe just because of byproduct of more metabolism for more testosterone, we can use it to keep others warm. See warm palms, mostly warmer on her chest, face, and palms. You can keep others warm. Masculine ways of being nurtured, their own thing. And deeper voices can be projected further and go better to the womb, better than higher voices. You can have influence from outside the womb. Plus, nutrients from semen, but for your mate. You see everything from a lot of sound from outside affect the baby. So the father can have a direct influence. Alcohol actually lowers the male sex drive from the waist down, that is. But this is proof that like the brain is sex already made its place in the brain pleasure centers. Like it's a script that don't say thinking with your penis. Don't blame your lower end. No, don't blame your lower end. Signal between your brain and the outside world and your rest of your body. A lot of signals are blocked. So I guess going by script, men try to sexually assault more, but if you want to blame like male basic nature, in that case, majority of rapists and abusers would be the autistic, or the majority autistic would be the rapists and abusers. They would be more prone to their basic nature, removing. Why do we need to look to other species when we see what the more basic human nature is? When we strip away the more higher class, more educated, more controlled man, when they're mentally disabled, neurologically disabled human beings to study of our same species. Or here's another: male baboons adopt young who aren't theirs. Definitely aren't theirs. And this famous gorilla.
On a sunlit Sunday afternoon, one of the main attractions at Jersey's Wildlife Preservation Trust, the open-air gorilla complex, had its usual collection of visitors. But yesterday they'd watched in horror as a 5-year-old boy fell into the compound. Yambo, the huge male lowland gorilla, immediately stood guard over the unconscious boy. Levan Merritt, who was transferred to the Southampton General's neurological unit, is said to be stable today. He was on holiday in the island with his parents and their other children. The actions of these animals speak volumes for Gerald Durrell's gentle giants. Yambo, a prolific father himself, recently celebrated his 25th birthday. He's been in Jersey since 1972. And when the child regained consciousness, his screaming really worried the gorilla.
If you don't know